right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very, very special episode of Big Time, the podcast. It's big time for a couple reasons. One, it's our first video podcast, and we got a stellar cast for you to kick off this monumental event. And two, we're doing a special episode that we've been talking about since day one. This was one of the very first ideas we had when we came up with the podcast. I got my boys, I got the executive producers along with us here on Big Time, the video podcast. So what we're doing here, I'm gonna tell you guys straight off the bat, if you're not from Fort Kent, you probably won't understand this podcast. It's very Fort Kent centric. What we're doing is a fantasy basketball draft of all the legends who used to play pickup basketball on Sunday mornings at the high school, also known as Hack League. All right, so that's the gist of it. Like I said, if you're not from Fort Kent, you might not get it, but we're gonna have a good time. All right, so we got a stellar cast here. Right off the bat, we got one of our executive producers of the pod from day one. I believe he was, episode 3? We got Ethan Raymond, right?
Good evening, everybody.
All right. And we got, I don't even know what season Lucas was. Maybe it's season 4. We got Fort Kent native class of 97?
Correct.
Lucas Levesque down there in Georgia.
97. Nice.
We got season 1 alumni, class of 94?
94.
We got Laughn Berthiume coming in from Gorham.
Gorham, Maine, baby.
We've even crossed borders. We got the very first guy to ever do the podcast, the Hulkster himself from Nova Scotia. We got Charlito, big bro Charles on the line. Charles, what's going on?
I should have got the first shout out. I'm number one big timer here.
The original, the reason why it's called Big Time.
Exactly. The number one introduction.
And then making his podcast debut. This is actually the first time. He's been talked about a lot on several episodes. We got little brother. We got Sam. We got 3 bards on here. Sam, what's going on?
Too much.
So we talked about it right off the bat. It's called Hack League. Lucas, how would you describe Hack League? What is Hack League?
It's a foul every possession, and if it's game point, there's going to be about 7 fouls until somebody accidentally makes one.
Okay. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So we went ahead and compiled a list of about 50 names of all the legends. And basically the ground rules are we have our 4 team captains. They're going to draft 5 guys. We're going to have a draft. Look at this guy. Charlie's ready to go here. We're going to draft 5 guys each. There's going to be a draft lottery to determine the order. And you may be wondering what Sam's doing here. Great question. Sam is our Jay Billis. Sam is our draft expert. He's had his ear to the ground all day. He's been hearing the rumors about who may be going where, potential trades, the whole 9. So we're going to be bringing in Sam from time to time. And just so you guys know, this is serious stuff. I've seen Lon with a notepad. I see Charles with a paper and pen. Ethan looks so serious. Lucas is fired up and ready to go. Sam's got his notes ready to go. It's the real deal here. But the first order of business, we got to get this draft lottery figured out. So, Charles, with the help of some of our beautiful nieces, had his kids go to work today, and we're going to do the draft lottery here, the order, to see what order we're going to be drafting in.
So in this bag, there's 4 ballots. The first one that I draw will get the 4th pick. The next one will be the 3rd, 2nd, and then the 1st. So you don't want to be picked. You want your name last out the bag. So here we go. I'm just going to shuffle through the bag here. With the 4th pick in the 2020 Hack League draft, Charles.
No, wow. Okay, so you know it's not rigged.
Rigged, that's good.
Not rigged, that's rough. With the 3rd pick in the 2020 draft, we got Lucas.
Come on, man.
Lucas going 3rd.
That's some nice artwork.
With the 2nd pick in the Hack League draft, we got Laughn.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
The number 1 draft pick goes to executive producer Ethan Raymond.
Wow.
I swear to God, this wasn't rigged, guys. I swear it wasn't rigged.
Ethan, we're going to go to you first. So what's your thought process here? You just found out you got the number 1 pick. How do you plan on building your team?
Honestly, I've had scouts out on Sundays for the last 2 years because I knew this was coming. So, I've had this on the back burner, but I've been thinking about it for a long time. So.
Does the organization kind of know who they want? Were you guys planning for the number 1 pick?
We had a round table a couple weeks ago, just with the anticipation of this coming. Weren't sure if this was going to happen with the old COVID-19, but just in case we get this all sorted out, and we've had our number one pick in mind for a long time now. So
All right. So before we get going here with the first pick, we're going to bring in our draft expert, Sam. What are you hearing here? What are you hearing? What's the word on the street on who potentially could go number one in the draft here?
Well, there's a couple options this year. Honestly, a couple top options that we have here on the list right now. A couple big names that come to mind are the Martin brothers. It's a top-heavy draft. You got a lot of solid big men to choose from. So right now, I'm leaning towards one of the Martin brothers, honestly.
Martin brothers, number one. Okay. And with that, we're just going to get to it here. We're going to get to the first pick in the 2020 Hack League Draft. Team Ethan Raymond. Who's it going to be? Who are you going with?
We were on the fence for a while because everyone knows I'm partial to the Martins. Pete is just a jack of all trades. Like a Magic Johnson out there. Lance is a speedster. I mean, nobody can catch him. He's like a fucking bolt of lightning. And Arnold, he's got hands like baseball mitts. I mean, you put him on the block and nobody's getting past that. But I'm actually not going to go with a Martin. I'm going with kind of the Kevin Durant of Northern Maine. I'm going with my boy Kelly O'Leary.
Kelly O'Leary with the number one pick.
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Stunner.
What was
He's
the
a strip road resident. He's a neighbor. I got to go with my boy down the road, Kelly O'Leary.
what's the thought process? What went into it? Just curious.
He's got state championship experience.
All right.
And he's long. He's a scorer. I feel like he's somebody we could build a team around. So.
All right, so there we go. With the number one pick, we got Kelly O'Leary. I don't think we saw him on any draft boards going number one. This is actually,
they might call me the Knicks of this draft, but that's who we're going with.
We're gonna find out. All right. So who do we got second? Who got the second pick? We got Laughn, number 2. And Laughn, just curious, going into the draft, did you have an idea as to what you wanted to do, who you wanted to go after? Were you going after best fit? Who's available? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I had the idea that I'm going guard first. Want somebody that can handle the ball, shoot it, tenacious. Actually, this is like Jason Tatum, dropping down to the Celtics and not being taken first. I am going with Steve Perro.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh.
That's going to break some hearts for the guys behind you here. Steve Perro, number 2 overall. So you went guard. I like it. Real quick, for the folks that might not know Stevie, what's the scouting report?
So Steve can shoot it from anywhere. He's got a motor that doesn't quit. It doesn't matter, how long you've played. He can still go. And again, he's got unlimited range. So, and he can also take it to the middle of the floor, and he's got the little rainbow floater. So I like everything about his game. So Steve Perro, I like that pick.
Feisty as well. Feisty guy right there. You need one of those guys on your team right there. All right. So moving right along here, the third pick, we're going to bring in Lucas. That had to hurt seeing Steve Perro go. I'm guessing he was at the top of a lot of draft boards.
Yeah, Steve was up there for sure. You want someone on your team that's not afraid to take a swing too on the biggest guy on the other team if need be. So definitely a solid choice, Laughn.
So where does that leave you, Lucas? Where are you going with the third overall pick? People remember the third pick, Michael Jordan, right? There's some big picks that come number 3.
Yeah. No, I think this is an easy one for me. I'm looking for somebody who can control the game, who always wants the ball, who's always communicating, always refereeing. Make sure that he'll lead the game in scoring and fouls and fights. And without question, I'm going with Travis DeLau.
Wow. Okay, that's where I thought you were going when I heard coaching. That's what I figured. All right, third overall pick, Travis DeLau. We got some names right off the bat here, right off the board. I see Charles over there scrambling right now to try to see where he's going to go with this third pick. Charles, I got a question before we get to your pick, though. All right, so we're just talking about the credentials of the other guys. What are your credentials to run a team here?
Sobriety. I'm looking who's going to show up sober for me on Sunday morning. Balloon. Yeah, I'm going.
All right, some big names off the board already here. You got the 4th and the 5th pick here, so a little bit of strategy goes into that. Charles, where are you going with the 4th pick?
I'm actually pretty pumped off because if I would have got the number 1 pick, I had 2 names in mind. I had Steve Parrow as what toss-up, but I'm going to have to go with Big Joe Bard here.
There we go. There
God
we go.
damn it.
Number 4. Number 4,
sure.
I can't believe it.
And I wouldn't call this homerism here, but we're going to bring in the draft expert. Sam, are you surprised that Joey Bard fell to number 4 on the big board here?
You know, honestly, not a lot of people would really think that, but you got to be realistic here. He's a top 3 pick. He's a top 3 pick in a draft like this. So I think some people are really surprised by this pick.
So, Charles, you got to be feeling pretty good with Joey Bard, Papa Bard falling into your lap at number 4.
I mean, he's a Tim Duncan of the age, so he's a proven winner.
Pretty pumped. Can't believe it.
And then, Charles, you also get the 5th pick here as well. So back-to-back draft picks. You went big with your first pick. Where are you going to go with your second pick, the number 6 overall pick here?
All right. I'm probably going to have to go. I'm going to probably have to go with either – I got 2 in mind here. I need a point guard. I'm probably going to have to go with the speedster in the 87 defense, Lance Martin.
Lance Martin going number 5 overall. And I could tell, Ethan, you're upset, Ethan. That I know how much you like Lance Martin.
Yeah, I'm more upset
This is
about the Joey
crazy.
Bard
What's
pick.
going on, technology? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. You're still around, Charles. You're still around.
This is killing the podcast.
I can make magic happen. We're going to be all set here. We're going to ride it out. So
right.
the number 5 pick, Lance Martin, it's going to bring us to our 6th pick. We're going back to Lucas. You picked Travis Delisle with your first pick. Where are you going with your second pick?
I got to match Lance intensity here from the guard position, and for pure entertainment value, I think pairing this young man with Travis and myself on our team makes a ton of sense. Super intense. He's probably the only player that actually plays defense in men's league. So with my second overall selection, I'm going to take Derek Cooper.
Derek Cooper. Wow. Okay.
Wow.
I got a question for you right off the bat with that selection. So a lot of personalities on this team. Do you think that Cooper and Travis are going to clash, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, I think from a basketball IQ standpoint, I think we can make it work. I'll be that calming presence to make sure we keep the situation light. I mean, we might have to drink at halftime, but I think overall, I think we'll be okay.
All right. So that was the number 6 pick. We're making our way back to Laughn with the 7 pick. Just curious, Laughn, I'm guessing some of the names you had on your board, on your draft board, are gone at this point.
Yeah, you know what? Didn't take him with the 2nd pick, but I'm disappointed Joey Bard's not around. And Travis Delisle was a teammate of mine, and I know he can play. And honestly, if you have him on your team, then there's less fouls called against you. So he was another pick I would have taken. Let's see. I'm sticking with the guards. We're going guard first, and I'm going with Wade Kelly.
Okay, Wade Kelly.
Out of the gash.
All right.
Great
So
pick.
Allagash, well represented so far here. 2 picks in the top 7.
What is it about
Thought
Wade,
process
anyways?
behind it.
What was Wade's style?
Wade was a point guard, a gritty point guard. He was not afraid of the big shot. Played again much bigger than he was. Could guard full court, and so we're looking to press and run.
Like it. Spoken like a true champ right there.
Don't forget, I got Lance Martin. He wants to talk full court defense. Come on.
So we're coming back to Ethan Raymond, who had the number 1 overall pick. Now with the number 8 overall pick, took Kelly O'Leary, and what may be a bit of a surprise to some people here, but curious where you're going to go here with your second pick in the draft.
Yeah, that first pick, the way the snake draft works, it gets tough. because you got to wait a long time to come around for that second pick. And a lot of good guys are off the board right now. I was really hoping Joey would be around, but I should have known better. He wouldn't be around at the 8th pick. So I need somebody that's going to be a leader out there, somebody that's a pure scorer, and somebody with legendary status. So I'm going with Fort Kent native Tommy Pelletier.
Tommy Pelletier. Wow. Okay. Big name. One of the best to do it.
The Tom Pelletier, the town comp?
Yeah. Why, is there another one?
All right. So everyone's had 2 picks here. I'm going to bring in our draft expert. We're going to bring in Sam. Sam, who do you have right now as your top available prospects on the draft board?
Wow, there's a long list. One of my personal favorites right now, honestly, it's got to be Steve Pelletier. Just a consistent scorer. He's tenacious. He's all around, good defender. Reminds me of, young Klay Thompson, honestly. The way he plays the game. So that's my sleeper right now.
Are you trying to get a discount on a vehicle right now, or what? You need a new vehicle, or what?
Perhaps. Give that sponsor.
Yeah. Actually, yeah, it might be a good sponsor for the podcast. We'll chase that one down. So, yeah. Ethan, we're right back to you with the number 9 pick. So far, Kelly O'Leary and Tom Pelletier. Where are you going with with your 3rd pick?
I got kind of an old team right now. Got some age on the court, and we can't be gassing out. We need some young blood in the court that's going to be able to handle the ball. It's going to be able to heat up and kind of take over the game when called upon. This might be, yeah. Holy, feels like a fucking mind reader. How'd you pick? This might be a little partial, but I'm going with big bro Ben Raymond.
Ben Raymond, okay, some athleticism. And real quick, what's the scouting report on Ben Raymond? Ethan, in your words,
jump through the roof.
Describe Big Bro's game.
Oh, I thought are we going to Jay Billets for the scouting report?
Not for this one. I want to get the insider. I want to get the actual driveway playing experience, growing up in the same household.
Well, Ben Raymond, he's somebody that can shoot the 3. He's got unlimited range when he heats up. He's strong. He's a slasher. Nobody can guard him when he gets hot. So, and that boy can jump. He can get pretty much any rebound over anybody. So he's somebody that can do it all for me.
Now,
He's some young blood in the court.
Will he be wearing the helmet for these games?
That's a doctor-mandated thing right now. He has to. No contact sports without the helmet.
Good question.
We can't be risking the lives of one of our stars.
All right, so we're coming back around here, the number 10 pick. And there's been some great number 10 picks in the history of the NBA draft. Paul Pierce comes to mind. We're going back to Gorm for this one. Lon, you got the 10th pick. Who are you going with?
I'm excited that this person's still on the board. Again, we're going spread offense. We're keeping the guards moving the ball and shooting the ball. I'm going with Mark Graham.
Okay.
That was my next one.
And you know what? I think Mark Graham kind of fits the Paul Pierce draft pick. Kind of fell. I'm surprised he fell to number 10 on the draft. You must be pretty happy to be lucking out with him at the 10th pick here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I watched him play at UMFK. He was when I was a freshman in high school. He was my coach. He had the Bobby Knight mentality. That was his favorite coach. He was a Hoosier guy, and you know what? I'm on the Hoosier bandwagon now. So yeah, Mark Graham's a perfect pick for me.
Wow. Yeah, you're looking really good right now. I like the way things are looking for you right now. What a steal at the 10th pick. We're going back to Lucas. Lucas, was that one of the guys you had on your radar here?
Yeah, if Mark Graham had a little confidence, he'd be really dangerous. So depending on how it goes. Yeah, Mark. I was going through the list. Mark was definitely up there. He could shoot it from anywhere. My pick's simple. I mean, I'm going for my 3rd pick. I'm going reliability. I need somebody who's no matter if they had 38 beers the night before, I knew they'd show up on game day and be ready to play. I'm going to go the Dirk Nowitzki of Allagash, Mr. Fundamentals, Eric Gardner.
Wow. Okay.
Oh,
And I'm guessing that from that comment about 37 beers the night before, that happened. I'm guessing, were you part of that? Is that a real thing or what?
No, that's just a typical Saturday for Gardner. But no, on Eric's there every Sunday. Eric's definitely a men's league legend. He's a guy who his game grew with the consistency of playing. So I'm excited to have Roy Eric Gardner on my team.
Would you say that he got better with age?
Yes, yeah, I think high school. He didn't even play basketball in high school, but like I said, he's a Hack League legend, and we're excited to call him a teammate.
All right, so there we go with the 11th pick, going back to Canada for the 12th pick. Charles, how you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty good in this trio. So far I got Dad, Lance Martin, and this third one would probably be the all-time greatest 3-on-3 champions of the Valley. But if they can get along, it's dangerous. I'm going to go with Pete Martin.
Pete Martin.
Yeah. Pete and Lance, as long
taking
as
my
they get
pick
along,
right off the board.
as long as they get along, we're in good shape here.
So the scouting report that I just pulled up on Pete Martin, very similar to Kawhi Leonard. They're saying a poor man's Kawhi Leonard without the jump shot or defensive ability, just really big hands. Is that accurate or what?
I would say, yeah, the up and under before it was a thing. He might have to miss a few games because of the Smokey the Bear costume. Be there. Game on.
So what are your concerns? Did him and Lance not get along, or what's the problem?
No, Lance would get fired because Lance is a baller. He played hard nose and he didn't really like all the fancy stuff. And come on, Pete, pass the ball. Pass the ball, Pete.
Hey, how old was Pete when he played for UMFK?
Wow, I think he was 40. I think he was pushing.
Oh,
40.
come on.
Oh, no, for real. Well, it would have been
No way.
it would have been when Lauren Gee was there. Nate Gee, he was. I think.
No
he was on
way.
the squad.
Well, we've been talking about Sean Caron maybe going back to play for one more year.
That's hilarious.
He still has eligibility.
Really? Oh man, that's hilarious.
Man.
Pete had to have been 40. He'd see him at Costigan's after the game at 40 as well.
True.
True story.
All right.
True story.
So, Charles, you got the 13th pick here. We're going right back to you, but before we do, I want to jump into a random top 5 for you. So you mentioned Lance the speedster. You mentioned the struggle of having a guard, Stevie Perro. You were a bit of a defensive stopper back in your day, and you started playing at a very young age at Hack League. I want to know your top 5 toughest guys to guard when you showed up as a young in there at Hack League.
Amazing. So yeah, obviously Steve Farrell, number 1, hands down. I guarded him more than anybody, really. Lance was tough to guard.
Those were the days that he went off, huh? He probably had like 40, 50 when you guarded him.
It was unbelievable, man. Oh, I see what you're doing there. Yeah. But Lance wasn't hard to guard. He was just hard to get by. So Lance wasn't an offensive threat, but he was good at defense. But to guard, who else was hard to guard? Of this list, everybody's taller than me, so I don't even have Coop. I can't guard Coop. Still can't.
Hey, why don't you just say who you could guard on the list?
Well, Lan's not on there. I would say Gardner was hard to guard. If I ever got stuck in the post versus Gardner, he'd back you down. Use those the hips.
Those hips.
That's what I got.
Good, I like that. So we're coming right back to you with the 13th pick so far. You got Joey Bard, Lance Martin, Pete Martin. We're going to pick up another Martin here or what?
It's tempting. I'll leave some for the
There's
rest.
one on the board.
I'm going to go – for some reason, this guy actually got better as he got older. Doesn't score a lot, but my dad and him on the glass, they would win all rebounding. I'm going to go with Dave Saucier.
Dave Saucier. Nice pick right there.
That's a great pick.
Pick at the 13th overall, Dave Saucier. So Joey Bard, Lance Martin, Pete Martin, and Dave Saucier. I like the way your team's rounding out here, Charles. Things are looking good.
Dad's gonna have to score 60 for us to be in the game because I don't got any scorers. But
you never know, though. You got a well-rounded team, though. I like that. You're doing well. Going to the 14th pick, Lucas so far, Travis Delisle, Derek Cooper, the Allagash, Dirk Nowinski, Eric Gardner. At this point, with 2 picks left, what are you thinking? Are you trying to just get the best player left on the board, or are you going more for fit? What's going on here?
I'm going legendary status.
Okay.
I think it's important to have, somebody on your roster who everybody looks at as one of the godfathers of not only men's league, hack league basketball, but also men's league softball and every other sport that's out there. He's also very resourceful. If anybody has long hair and gets anything in their eyes, and he's very sweat resistant. I'm going Roy Michaud.
Roy Michaud.
Wow.
Roy is pretty much there consistently, mostly an Eagle Lake legend, but he's kind of like that guy who starts in NWA wrestling and then makes it to WWE. He would branch out every once in a while and make it to Fort Kent, but yeah, without question, legendary status, Mr. Roy Michaud.
Also ahead of his time with the headband, right? I mean, headbands got popular early 2000s. He's been rocking the headband forever, right?
Yeah, I think I took Lon's pick here, but during the Jane Fonda workout videos and stuff, I think that was really popular, and I think Roy kind of took off with that and ran with it. But yeah, without question, I think Roy's going to be a good addition to my squad.
I like it. All right, so
I'll say this: he was the first player with a headband that I saw and knee brace.
That's true.
Trendsetter.
Yep. All right, so before we get back to
the knee pads you have, Charlie.
Before we get back to Laughn with the 15th pick, I want to go back to our insider. Sam, who do you have left on your board here? I mean, we've gone through 14 players. Who you still think has got some value left on the board here?
I mean, there's a handful of players here right now that are still on the list. Honestly, Carl Chassie, Dan Chassie, I believe, is on this list too as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We still have a Martin on the board. Terry Reel's pretty classic, but like I said, I think we still have Steve Pelletier on the board right now as well.
He's at BJ's. He's not playing ball.
All right, so we're getting back to Laughn here with the 15th pick so far. Just to recap, Steve Perro, Wade Kelly, Mark Graham. You got some scores. You got some guys that can fill it up here. What do you think at this point?
So, I'm going to go back to that last pick that Lucas had because Roy Michaud, he was on my radar too, mostly because he didn't need a lot of space to get his shot off. He had that shot that was behind his head. It didn't really look that pretty, but the rotation was a bit sideways, kind of knuckleball sometimes, but man, he could fill it up. All right, so I'm going to go now with a little bit of size, but somebody that can step out and shoot it at the same time because the team is going to be built around space and being able to shoot the ball. But I'm going with Laughn Gee.
Okay, Laughn Gee.
Killing me.
One thing we haven't seen much of on the draft board so far is size. You went and got that. I mean, Laughn was a big boy, right?
Yeah, but you know what? He's pretty mobile too. He's got a long reach. I mean, he can guard the perimeter without having to be that close. And you know what? He can run the floor. He's got those big strides. He's like a gazelle out there.
Did you guys play together in high school?
Laughn was, I believe I might have missed him by a year. He might have been a senior when I was a freshman. Okay. Nathan was a junior when I was a freshman. So yeah, maybe he was a senior when I was a freshman.
Okay. Guessing you're pretty happy with the pick. Your team's looking pretty solid right now. Steve Perro, Wade Kelly, Mark Graham, Laughn Gee. You got to be feeling good.
I like, again, I did my research. I like the way this is working out.
Unbelievable. Things are just falling into place. We're going back to
God damn it.
The pride of Wallagrass here, down there in Scarborough. Ethan, you had the number one overall pick. You had the number one overall pick. The snake draft can be a little bit tricky navigating it. Recap, Kelly O'Leary, Tom Pelletier. You went Ben Raymond, Big Bro with your third pick. You just saw who Laughn took. Laughn took some size right in front of you. What are you thinking with your next pick here?
I needed some size. I got kind of have a small ball team right now. Kelly's tall, but he's still he's pretty slender, and I see him playing the 3 for me. So I need some size. I need some people down low, somebody that can sweep the glass. But I also need somebody that with some basketball IQ. You know, I got some smart players. I got some legends, but I need that coaching presence on the team as well. Can't think of anybody more legendary than Larry Murphy, but I need that height. I'm going to go with my man, Don Murray.
Don Murray. I was wondering when he was going to come off the draft board. So obviously, Don Murray was an excellent coach. I think we all might have had him in middle school. If not, he coached a lot of us. High basketball IQ. I mean, you look at the rest of your team, that's a good fit. You need that kind of that glue guy, that IQ guy. That's not a bad pick right there, Ethan.
Hey, he was also a high school girls coach. Everybody knows that the smart guys coach high school girls.
That's right.
You're the best guy hook in the draft, too, I believe.
All right.
Yay.
So Ethan's got the 16th and 17th pick. Before we get to your next pick, I was going to go to our draft expert, Jay Billis, Sam, but he seems to have disappeared. Bathroom break, probably, maybe fixing the hair. Not sure what's going on. So, Ethan, we're gonna go back to you with the 17th pick. So this is your last draft choice. So just to recap: Kelly O'Leary, Tom Pelletier, Ben Raymond, Don Murray, and also just a little shout out to Don Murray. He had some of the best shoes. He used to wear Shaq's Reeboks back in the day. I don't know why I remember that, but I do. Your last draft pick here, and we lost Charles, but maybe we'll get him back before it rolls around back to him. Who are you going with your last pick?
Man, that's a tough one. I feel like I still got some spots to fill. We got Arnold Martin out there. Could have a little twin tower combo with him and Don. We got Duddy Nettles on the board too.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, but Duddy comes with Benny, so kind of a package deal. You get an enforcer, but you get a cheerleader at the same time. 1 foot up on the radiator, keys jingling off the belt. So
that was the Alonzo and LeVar Ball of their day, right?
That's right.
What would Benny say on the sidelines, anyways? You got any?
Pull up, Dustin, from the Indian head. You can do it, Dustin. Shoot the 3, shoot the J, Dustin. Anyway, so actually, you know what? I need somebody that's not going to be afraid to be a little shysty, to be a little dirty. Somebody that's got a good head on his shoulders. I'm going with Paul Cancelarich.
Paul Cancelarich, another big name.
Multi-sport athlete. Guy's a legend.
I just noticed one thing about your team here. You got some lefties on your squad. You biased or what? What's going on here?
A little bit biased. You know how nothing smoother than a lefty jump shot.
It's true. So your team, we got Kelly O'Leary, Tommy Pelletier, Ben Raymond, Don Murray, Paul Cancelarich. Solid. You feeling pretty good about it?
Feeling pretty good about it.
All right. So we're going back to Laughn with the number 18 pick. And before we get to your pick, Laughn, just want to see what your earliest recollections of Hack League are. I'm guessing your dad used to go. I'm guessing you're kind of like the rest of us, and that's kind of how you know Hack League. It's kind of tagging along with your dad. What are your earliest recollections of Hack League?
You know what? The earliest recollections are probably just how competitive it can be. You know, whether it's winning the argument about the foul, who the ball was off, you know, those type of things. And I think Travis Delau was in there watching that stuff, and he was getting groomed because he'd bring that to, you know, my driveway, and you know, I remember you know, arguing with Travis about every sport, every call, all the way through. You know, he was like another big brother to me, except he was not going to be afraid to beat me down. And so, you know, I remember that type of stuff where, you know, you win the argument, you're going to win the game.
And then one more question in regards to your Hack League experience. So Charlie was talking about the toughest guys to get to cover, and it's pretty much everybody for him. He couldn't guard anyone. Who were some of the guys that you remember playing whenever you actually went to play that just gave you a hard time?
All right. Well, so some of the guys that are on my team, Steve Perro, the quickness and the scoring ability. I mean, honestly, he was going to be my number one pick if I had the number one pick. Mark Graham, just because he could shoot it from anywhere, and he didn't really need a lot of space to get his shot off. I'd say Travis was a guy that, he kind of had those moves around the rim, like Kevin McHale, where he'd find the way to get the ball to the square. And then Tom Pelletier was a guy that, although he wasn't the quickest guy out there, he was able to stop and go and again, make his space, and he didn't miss either. So those would be my guys.
All right.
I got a little Fran Berthiume story here. I don't know why, as a youngster, they used to play men's league in the elementary school gym occasionally. And he was the only person in my lifetime that I saw shoot a free throw underhanded. Was that something that you remember him doing, or was it just something I thought of? I swear he did a diaper shot free throw.
You're talking my father?
Yeah.
My father? He was it wasn't something that he did often. He was probably showing off. He was probably saying, you know what, this game's so easy, I'm just going to shoot it underhand this time.
He was trying to
probably
give you a
Love it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
I think he's probably like, man, your shot is so ugly that you should shoot this way.
Did your dad talk smack? Was he
a trash talker?
Was Fran a trash talker?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't much of a trash talker. He let his game do the talking.
All right. So here we go. You got your last pick here. So far, recap, you got Steve Perro, Wade Kelly, Mark Graham, Lauren Gee. Where are you going with your last pick here in the draft?
Yeah, I love the way this team has developed. This person is definitely a sleeper pick. Played on some fantastic teams. He was not really the headliner, but always could have been. He was that talented. I'm going back to Allagash, and I'm taking Stacey Kelly.
Stacey Kelly with the 18th pick in the draft. All right, so recap. I mean, things worked out pretty good for you. Steve Perro, Wade Kelly, Mark Graham, Lauren Gee, Stacey Kelly. You got size, you got scores, pretty well-rounded. You got to be feeling pretty good right now.
Yeah, and I think that's a team that could play defense. We'll put Mark Graham on whoever their weakest offensive player is, because Mark wasn't a defensive guy, but he was always a guy that was going to score way more than whoever he was guarding, and so the plus-minus worked out for him. So I think we're going to be fine.
All right. Before we get to Lucas with the 19th pick here, we're going to bring in our draft expert, Sam. Still some names on the board here with some value, but I'm curious, are you hearing any rumblings about any potential trades here? Any trade talk going on here that you're hearing about?
Well, I did hear recently that Charles is trying to make a trade right now. Don't know the truth of this, but I'm gonna stay quiet about it. There's just some rumors going on now. He's trying to package a couple players for a single player from another individual, but I don't know the truth to that. But there are some big names on the board. A couple that come to mind. I got some Bouchers on the board. Desjardins, some good names still out there on the board. I'm looking forward to the finish of this draft here.
Absolutely. So we're going to go to Lucas here with the 19th pick, and Sam just mentioned no Bouchards drafted, or Bouchers. I'm sorry, no Bert, no Casey, no Jared. Is that where you're going with this one, or would you even pick them, or would you pick Taylor?
Too much speed in the family for this game. I think the trade that you're hearing about is Charlie trying to trade his two brothers, but I can't confirm that. I'm going athleticism. This is a little off the grid. I hope it's allowed, but I think this guy's been playing men's league basketball for a good 10 years at least, if not more. He's a little scarce, but I'm going Eric Warnkin.
Oh, okay.
Yes, man.
Ooh.
Not the post presence we would like to see. Jacks up too much threes and lets people go by him just so he can try to block their shots afterwards. So gonna work on the fundamentals a little bit, but Eric is as good as anybody when he's on. So I'll gladly take him with.
Solid pick.
He's still dunking.
A lot of personalities on your team. So Travis Delisle, Derek Cooper, Eric Gardner, Roy Michaud, Eric Warrington. Are you worried about the personalities here at all?
Nah, I think
There's going to be zero.
I do have.
You look back at it now, you're like,
There's going to be zero ball movement on that team.
Nah, Travis makes, if you take a rushed shot, Travis is going to yell at you. So I think between this group we can swing the basketball around a little bit, but there'll be some entertainment value though for sure. I think that
big time
combination should be fun to see.
Before we get to Charles with the last pick here in the 2020 Big Time Hack League draft, Lucas, I want to get a top 5 from you. We talked about kind of showing up to Hack League Sunday morning after having a good time Saturday night. Who are your top 5 guys that would show up to Sunday morning Hack League having a really good Saturday night the night before?
Yeah, I mean, I think Steve's on that list. I think Gardner is pretty good on that. A lot of times I wouldn't stroll out of bed, but every once in a while I would. So my attendance wasn't necessarily regular. Trying to think, looking through. I mean, Corey, when Corey would go. Say again?
How about Dave? Was Dave he a good boy in those days? Or?
Yeah, Dave. When Dave would go out, Dave was a little tougher than me the next day when I'd get hung over like a schoolgirl. So Dave could handle it a little better. So Dave would usually.
There's going to be a Martin on that list.
Jason Nadeau, Jay was pretty good about showing up, and yeah, I mean you usually get a good contact buzz from the night before playing Hack League. So that is one of the.
Who's the one guy you would still take, even if they came Sunday morning after a good time on Saturday night? Who's the one person it didn't affect?
You know what? Eric Warrington's alter ego, Walter. I'll tell you when Walter would come out, it would be usually a pretty legendary evening, and there was a few times the next morning where, but Eric could still ball whether hungover or sober, whatever. But Steve was a machine. Like I said, you couldn't even tell. So I think sometimes Steve was better hungover. So that was 10 a.m. on Sundays when you're in your college days, made for interesting entertainment.
All right, so just a recap here. Definitely some personalities. So Travis Delisle with the 3rd pick, Derek Cooper with the 6th pick, Eric Gardner at 11. Roy Michaud at 14, Eric Warrington at 19. I think you got all kinds of talent. I'm curious as to how things will actually play out on the court with all those individuals. For the last pick of the 2020 Big Time Hack League Fantasy Draft, we're going back out to Nova Scotia. Charles.
I'm thinking hard. I'd like to propose a trade.
Oh, here we go. So what we've been hearing about. What's the trade here?
Okay, I think it's one that has Mark Graham.
Yes.
I would like to trade you Lance and Pete Martin for Mark Graham, and I'll let you make my final pick for me.
Wow.
I think Mark's too important. I mean, I think I've got a dynasty going on.
Fuck.
Give him Casey Boucher. Come on.
Oh, that's awesome. We'll give him a clock here. Give him a 30-second clock to think about it. To talk it out.
All right. So we're just gonna recap the proposed trade here. We're gonna bring in our trade expert. So Sam, we just heard that Charles is offering Lance and Pete Martin for Mark Graham and the last trade the last pick in the draft. What are you hearing from executives here around the league?
Not what we expected, to say the least. Yeah, we're kind of speechless back here right now. But we'll let Laughn, decide on this one. I mean, it's a good option. It's a good opportunity. I mean, either way, but it's not what we expected over here. I think Charles had a good little trio going, like I said, with Joe Bard and the Martin brothers. But if this is the way he wants to go, maybe he has something in store here that really sparked this team.
All right. So
I'm
we're
not
going to go
gonna
back.
lie. In a call your own foul league, having Joey Bard, Pete Martin, and Lance Martin on your team, that's gonna be tough to beat.
It is.
I
know. I just know what I just know. Old man Bard has a lot of respect for Mark Graham, so if he could land him on his squad, he'd be fired up.
So real quick, just to recap, the proposed trade, Lance Martin and Pete Martin for Mark Graham, and then Lon, we get to make Charlie's final pick in the draft here. Or Lon, are you going to take that, or are you going to decline that?
Yeah, I see. With the way my team is, I don't think anybody on Charlie's team is going to be able to foul us, and they're not going to be able to get close. And honestly, besides Joey, I don't think anybody on that team can score. So I'm going to take my chances when we play him, and I'm going to keep Mark.
All right, so there we go. Trade decline. So Charles, you have the last pick in the draft. Just to recap. Joey Bard, Lance Martin, Pete Martin, and Dave Saucier.
I'll still make your last pick for you.
It's down to two players. Two players my dad really enjoys playing with. Actually, I'm going to throw in a third name. I'll start with this one. Chris Losey. Hopefully his son would show up to play. Maybe Chris can't make it, and his son will step in. But really, the last two I got to narrow down to was either Jason Drolet or Steve Pelletier. My dad enjoys playing with both of them. Jeff Pelletier, if he's on, it could be dangerous. I'm probably gonna go with Steve Pelletier and hopefully a discount on an F-150 next time I'm home.
All right. So the 20th pick, the last pick in the draft, Team Charles goes with Steve Pelletier. So recap. Joe Bard, Lance Martin, Pete Martin, Dave Saucier, Steve Pelletier. Charles, I think you wound up pretty well getting stuck with the fourth pick. You got to be pretty satisfied, though.
Oh, definitely. It's a pretty solid team overall. Points scored, I'm kind of worried about, but body to body, we're good.
All right.
You're going to do that to your dad and make him carry that team, huh?
Hey, are we going one sub each team? We going a 6-man?
Yep. So we're just going to throw this in here now. So Sam, there's got to still be some names in that draft, right? There's got to be some names still on the board. Who do you have right now? Top available prospects still on the board at this point?
I mean, Charles just said it. Jeff Pelletier, if he's on, he's a great scorer from three. Be a great addition as a 6-man. I think there's a few other players on here up for grabs right now. I think there's still one more Martin brother, and but it's just up to the needs. Everyone's going to look at their needs right now and see what they need on the bench to support the starting five.
All right, so we're going to go back to Ethan here. We're going to go back to the number 1 overall pick, Ethan. At this point, you're going with your ringer. I mean, there's some ringers out there: Larry Murphy, Bert Boucher. We got who else is still on the board? Terry Ryu. You got some guys you could bring in and be physical, the all belly squad, as I call them. Just the guys you didn't want to see on the Skins team when they would show up to play. I mean, you can get one of those guys to just be an irritant. Who are you going to go with here?
Yeah,
does he get the next pick, or do I get 2 picks in a row? I'm just wondering.
We're going to go back to Ethan here.
Woo.
At this point, I feel like it's a crapshoot. You're going to have to use your GM skills here to find value with who's left here at this point.
Should I scramble up those numbers and pick the 6-man?
We'll see who you guys pick, and then if you guys want to try to trade around here, I'll give you guys one last chance to make a final trade.
Now, Tom, I got a question. Charles's team is Joey, Pete Martin, Lance Martin, Steve Pelletier, and Dave Saucier. Does he know this is a full court game?
That's a great question, Charles. How do you respond to that?
87 defense, full court defense, my friend. Oh yeah, no, we're good.
These are all guys. These are all guys in their prime. You know what I mean? So hopefully they can run a little bit.
Dad can still outrun Lucas. I don't know what he's talking about.
Hey, I know. I ain't gonna do that.
All right, so we're gonna go back to Ethan here. Who's your ringer pick here?
I need a spark plug. I need somebody who's going to come in and get in people's heads, shake things up. There's a couple good names for that position on the board. We got keep going back to Duddy Nadeau, but I don't think he's going to get in people's heads too much. Man,
Pick up Benny.
could get Benny could be that guy.
Diamond.
Benny with a good back.
No. Benny, we got Doug Levesque on the board.
Mm.
I'm gonna go with the OG LeVar Ball, Gary Thibodeau.
Gary Tibbs off the board.
I thought for sure you're going Tim Jardin, rough people up a little bit there.
That's another one too that's still on the board.
That's another one too.
One of the best arguments. One of the best fights I ever saw wasn't even a fight. There's no real punches thrown, but there's a big fiasco, and Timmy's the one who started it. He just instigated. Next thing I know, there's two guys yelling at each other and kicking doors and throwing basketballs, and it was awesome. And all started with Timmy.
Ethan with Gary
Timmy
Tibbs.
does have a temper.
Ethan picks Gary Tibbs with his ringer pick. We're going to go back to Laughn here. Who's your ringer pick here?
All right, so this was a guy that I played a little men's league softball with, men's league softball teammate. I was also men's league softball teammates with Benny, but it's not Benny. Now, when you think about the great performances of all time, you've got Wilt scoring 100. You've got Kobe scoring 81. I think Robinson had 71. And Mark McBride's right in there, another Allagash guy. I believe he scored 73 points in a game, if I have that number right. But it was in the 70s. So I'm going with Mark McBride.
Wow.
That's going to give me 3 Allagash boys.
That's a good one.
Yeah, so just
That is a great
curious,
pick.
how do you
Surprised
blend
he didn't go off the
in?
board for a starter.
How do you blend in with so many Allagash guys here? Is that going to be a problem, or do you fit right in?
No, that's perfect. That's perfect. Like I said, I played my men's league softball in St. Francis, so we had a little blend of the Allagash boys anyway. Troy Jackson was on that team too. So Buddy Gardner played on that team, so I know the Allagash boys.
All right.
So who do you think Mark McBride's going in for? Like, who's going to get? Like, what's the lineup against starting 5?
He's going to go in for the last play in a tie game, and he's just going to be that dark horse that nobody guards.
The unknown. I like
love
it.
But again, guy scores in the 70s for one game. I can't believe he's still on the board.
I
a great
know.
Great point.
We're going to go to Lucas here. Lucas, you got a ringer pick, so whatever you want at this point. Your squad's pretty much filled out.
I was gonna go ahead and pick Benny and see if I can get a discount on some vacuums, but I do got a good Benny story before I make my pick. I went up to St. Francis to play with Gardner one day, and so every time I always look to see who the slowest guy on the team is, who moves the least amount, and I try to guard that guy, and it was Benny. And so the very first possession, he gets this like double clutch. I thought he was like stuttering for a second, but this double clutch, I think he banked it, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm letting this guy shoot all day. And I think he was like 9 for 10 from the field, and I was there with my head down, like, shit, dude, I'm back.
Did you know Benny at that time though? Did you know who he was?
I mean, I knew who he was. I just, and obviously he's a lot older than I am, so I just was like, oh man, I'm just gonna let this guy go, and he torched me. And I'm like, shit, I'm not very good. So now my next pick, the favorite, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This is the one guy that I enjoyed guarding the most. Every once in a while, he'd hit the rim, but this is fairly rare. He shot probably 60% of the time, at least he got the ball. I'm going with Tommy D. Tommy Daigle. Tommy D's Pizza. Anybody ever played with Tommy D? You know what's up. So yeah, my 6th pick, I'm rolling with Tommy D.
That's a good choice right there.
Wow. I'm even on the board. I love
rebounds, some easy putbacks off air balls. I'm going Tommy D.
Wow, didn't see that one coming. That's got to be the sleeper of the entire draft. That's got to be like
Oh, for sure.
that's the equivalent of drafting some kid from Nigeria in Africa who has no draft footage right there. Just,
Look, and Tommy's getting into the fitness thing. I think he's in good shape. I think he's probably he's like Gardner. His game's evolved. You know, he wasn't very good, 10 years ago, but now he's fundamentally sound. He's added some things to his repertoire. I'm sure Tommy's going to be a good asset to our team.
right.
And
Wow.
he's really not that much slower than Steve Farrell. Tommy was fast in the Cormid.
He's a slightly more polished Charles Bard.
We'll take that.
Oh,
Take it.
without the beden.
All right, Hulkster, with your ringer pick here, who are you going with?
Somebody who's not on the list. It came to me while we were talking here tonight. You guys are all in trouble. Lock your doors. I'm going with Scott Boucher.
Scott.
Wow.
What's the thought process behind this here?
Lock your doors. Oh my God.
What went into the thought process here, Charles?
There's just something about the finger roll from the 3-point line that I love. It's an unused skill. 3-point line finger roll.
Oh, God. Okay.
I'll be honest. How Terry Rio wasn't drafted is a travesty.
I know.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
So we're gonna go to Sam here. Sam, like, what are some of the big names that you're surprised that are just gonna wind up in Vegas Summer League and not be drafted here?
Hey, before he answers, can we just go around the group and each pick one person left over on the list and give it to Sam?
Yeah. So so you guys can pick Sam's team now with who's left. We'll do that.
All right.
All right, Charles, you go ahead first. Who are you gonna give Sam?
No, I'm not picking first. Give it to the number one draft pick.
All right, so
I got any time to think.
You get to make. We're gonna draft Sam's team. So Ethan, you go ahead with your the first pick for Sam here.
Oh fuck. It's got to come from the list, or
No, it can be anyone at this point. Give Sam the all-time team here.
Oh fuck. Let's see. Yeah, I can't think of anyone better than Casey Boucher.
Casey Boucher, the number one pick for
He's
Sam.
got to be your point guard too.
Ethan, what are your memories of watching Casey Boucher play basketball?
I used to live with the fucking guy, so all the memories I have of him is walking out of the shower with his dick tucked between his legs, pretending he had a mangina. So. No, but
Was that last year?
yeah, I mean, he was all flash, orange cleats on the soccer field, and just trying to be fancy. He's somebody that's he's all flash. That's
All
good
right.
though. You need somebody like that in your team. You need an entertainer.
That's a great pick right there. So, Laughn, we're going to you. Who are you going to pick for Sam's squad here?
All right, Sam, you need a shooter.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with we're gonna stay with the Bouchers. We're gonna go with Mike Boucher.
It's actually Bouchard.
Bouchard.
Okay.
Mike Bouchard?
Same neighborhood, right? Same neighborhood, right?
Yeah,
Exactly.
right across the street.
Yeah.
That's right. Right across the street.
All
Mike
right.
was actually a dangerous 3-point shooter.
He was. I'm
That's what I'm
surprised
talking
he wasn't
Sure
picked.
was.
Yeah. All right. We're making our way down to Sam's third pick here. We're going to Lucas. Who are you going to draft for Sam?
Well, I think Sam needs some athletes on that team. So I'm gonna go 2020 version. I'm gonna go Carlos.
Oh,
Carl's pretty reliable. His son's actually a pretty good little athlete. Carl's pretty smart. He was playing in the UFK games with Valley Motors, I think. But I'm gonna go Carl Bully.
All right. So making our way down. Charles.
This is hilarious. Did Bill Plord play any men's league?
Oh, that's a great pick. Fuck. I can't believe you didn't think of that.
I think back in the day. I think that's what I've heard.
Okay, we'll give Bill Plord.
All right.
I was thinking him or Mark Violet.
Come on.
So Ethan, for many folks. Oh wait,
I got one more. I'll get the last two.
Hold on. But before we get to your last pick, I got to talk on Bill Plord here. Ethan,
Right.
for those that didn't have the pleasure of having their name called by Bill Plord, he was the voice of Warrior basketball for a long time. Can you call out Sam's name?
Well, hold on.
In Bill Plord's voice.
Let's just let Ethan do Sam's whole team. Once I'll make the last pick, and then Ethan can do the starting
No.
lineup.
Yeah.
I like that. Okay, let's do that. Charles, go ahead. Make the last pick, Charles. Charlito,
Last pick.
back up here.
Another big man. He likes the size.
Hey, before he makes the last pick, let's go back to Bill. So, Bill was a good friend of my father, so we used to go over to the Plord's house, and Bill could sit because he had the pool, right? So Bill could sit near the pool, and he could make shots from his lounge chair in the end of the pool near the diving board. He was a sniper.
Nice. There you go.
There you go, Billy the Sniper
You get a
Plord.
shooter? Good.
All right, Charles. Who are you going with for the last pick?
Last pick. Another big body. Cecil Afford.
Holy shit, we're going big.
Oh,
Steven Adams.
Steven Adams.
So just to recap
Barbarian.
here, Team Sam, we got Casey Boucher, Mike Bouchard, Carl Bollier, Bill Plord, Cecil Hafford. Sam, you can pick your ringer. Who's your ringer for that squad?
Oof. Oh, I might have to go Twin Towers here. I might have to go Jim Violet.
Oh,
Ooh.
that's a good pick.
Jim or
Another
Mark?
name, surprising didn't come off the board right there. Jim Violet with a great pick, great value.
Yeah.
Great job, Sam.
Good
Sam's
family
keeping
right
his ear
there,
to the
too.
ground. Yeah.
Sold me
All
my
right.
first car. It was a white Dodge Omni with rainbow stripes on the side. The rainbow Warrior from Lakeview Auto Sales.
Yeah.
That's
Great
cool.
place.
I would say Terry Rue would have got more points than Jim Violet, but it's a decent pick.
I want to go Twin Towers here. Jim Violet and Cecil Hafford.
All right, I got one that I'd like to see. The all head down team. Can we name 5 guys that never pick their head up to see the rim or see what's in front of them the whole time they
It
play?
sounds like you have that name. You sounds like you have that team already. Let's hear it.
I don't know if I could name 5, but Jeff Peltier would make that list.
Yeah.
Jeff would pass up a wide open 3 so that he could dribble to his left across his body and then shoot while looking the other way. I never understood it, but Kelly, I think Kelly Thibodeau would be on that list. Just put your head down and go. Who else we got? Who's the put your head down and just go to the rim without even looking what's in front of you?
Terry Ryu.
Terry, definitely.
Derek.
I mean, Tommy D had to be one of those too, though. Tommy D, you pull up quick, like just be running and all of a sudden just pull up from the foul line.
Another one too that we haven't heard from, Doug Levesque.
Yeah, Doug.
Violent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Lonnie, any head down gunners back in your day?
You know what? If you're talking about head down, I always felt like Lance Martin was a guy that was going to put his head down and he was going to run through you and get to the rim. 100 miles an hour, like nobody really did charges in men's league, but if you did, I mean, he was the guy.
Mm.
So a couple names.
Was
that,
Joel like
I'm
that?
surprised. I just want to say a
Jason
couple
Jolet
names.
was like that too, wasn't
Jason's fancy.
Yeah.
he? Yeah, he was fancy.
A couple names that I didn't hear come off the board that I'm a little surprised of with you guys. So guard play, very important nowadays. No one picked Dan Chassie.
I know.
To be
Wow.
honest, I thought we were going deeper than 5 picks. There's way too many legends out here.
Yeah.
thought
And
we'd
the
go
other name
7 or 8.
too, speaking of like current, the way you play currently. So guard play is important and you need bigs that can spread the floor. Robert Plord was ahead of his time. The big guy jacking threes. No one picked Robert Plord. What's going on here?
Shit, he was on the list, huh?
Yeah, he's he actually lives about an hour and a half from me, and his daughter's team played our club this year. His daughter's the same age as my daughter, so I got a chance to see him and had dinner and stuff. So it's good catching up with Rob. But he was a men's league legend, probably in Lonnie's time more than my team. Mark Nadeau is another one. Mark, unfortunately,
Mark.
Yeah, Mark passed unfortunately, but he
George
played.
Fuller.
He had one lung, and he still get up and down the floor as much as he could. I enjoyed playing with Mark. Mark was a good guy.
Still run by you, right, Lucas?
Oh yeah. I mean, that was when I knew I was a pretty below average defender.
Well, you just said Benny torched you.
You know, the double clutch after like the sixth made shot, I was like, shit, maybe I should try to guard him instead of leaving him open. But I figured it worked for Tommy D. It should work for Benny, but nah, Benny proved me wrong.
So before we get up out of here,
Lamar's still on the list too, huh?
yeah, that's true too. Before we get up out of here, I think we're on to something. I think we're going to wind up seeing a bunch more episodes like this one right here, just especially with the times and everyone's got free time. And I think we had a great time doing this. So probably a lot more of these coming. But before we get out of here for this one, just going to recap the teams, give you guys one last chance to make one final pitch for a trade if you guys want. And then to get up out of here, Ethan's going to announce Sam's starting five in Bill Floyd's voice. So it's going to be great. So just to recap, we got Team Ethan. We got also I need what your guys' team. I need what your team names are too. After I run through all these rosters.
Shit, I forgot about that.
You got about a minute here to figure that out. So Team Ethan so far hit the number one pick. We had Kelly O'Leary, Tom Pelletier, the lefty Ben Raymond, the legend Don Murray, Paul Cancelarich, and his defensive enforcer Gary Tibbs. Kind of like a Bruce Bowen, I think, right there, Gary Tibbs. Next for Laughn, Steve Perro, the Steph Curry of his day, Wade Kelly, Mark Graham, Lauren Gee, Stacy Kelly, and his ringer was Mark McBride. Going on to Team Lucas here. All kinds of questions about this team's in terms of personalities and chemistry. I want to see the reality series, the behind the scenes following this team. Travis Delisle, Derek Cooper, Eric Gardner, Roy Michaud, Eric Warrington, and Tommy D. Real quick, how does Eric Gardner fit in with Cooper and Travis? I'm just curious.
Gardner doesn't say a whole lot, so he'll just put his head down and do his job. So I think Gardner's a good compliment to those two.
All right, and then Team Charles, Joey Bard, Lance Martin, Pete Martin, Dave Saucier, Steve Pelletier, Scott Boucher. Real quick, Ethan, what's your team name?
Man, I do have a team full of lefties. Let's see. I'm gonna have to take this downstairs. I'm gonna be announcing the team. Can't wake up the whole family.
Going in the basement.
Yeah. Shit.
I got a trade proposal.
Hold on, we're gonna get the trades after the team names here. So first, Team Ethan, what's the team name?
Can't think of one. Oh shit! What did I lose it?
No, you're still here.
All right. I need some suggestions on that one. We're a bunch of lefties.
What's your roster?
His roster was Kelly O'Leary, Tom Pelletier, Ben Raymond, Don Murray, Paul Cancelarich, and Gary Tibbs.
Oh.
We'll come back around. Laughn, do you have a team name?
It's gotta be like a
I do.
lefty circle jerk or something like that. I don't know.
Lefty Legends. We'll keep it clean. Lefty Legends.
I'll keep it clean. All right.
So
That wasn't part of the rules.
All right.
So
Laughn.
with the high number of Allagash guys that I have on there, I'm thinking something to do with Bobcats, but considering that Mark Graham was the only person or the only person so far that's been asked in a trade, and he's originally from Skank, we're going to go with the Skank Bobcats.
Oh.
Well, that's
Like
a
that.
good one.
All right. Skank.
How did Mark Graham end up in Fort Kent?
Play college ball, right?
Yeah, he came to Fort Kent to play at UMFK.
Did you see him in his prime? Because when I used to see him, like, he was a little bit past his prime, little belly, and still shoot threes, but he's legit.
Oh, no. I saw him in his prime. I saw him when he was playing for UMFK. He was awesome. He was awesome. He honestly could shoot there. I watched him, drain a half-court shot at the buzzer that was like a legitimate jump shot. He was one of the best.
Wasn't there a story that he played against Matt Rossignol in high school, and like he knocked on his door? He drove to Van Buren and knocked on his door and said, "I'm shutting you down tomorrow," or some crazy thing like that. You ever hear that story?
I've heard something like that, and it doesn't surprise me if he did. I don't know all the details. I don't remember how that worked out. Knowing Matt Rossignol probably didn't work out great, but also knowing Mark, I believe he did it.
All right. We'll have to dig to the bottom of that. We're going to go to Lucas. What's the team name for Team Lucas?
I mean, I got Travis and Coop and, Warrington. We've got to be the Peacemakers.
The Peacemakers.
Peacemakers. I like that. Charles, what are you going with for your team name?
What does Dave Sosi do for work?
He's an accountant.
Accountant?
Doc?
Okay. I'm going to go with the Paraders because Dad's in a parade for the fire department once upon a time. Lance and Pete got the Smokey the Bandit, the Forest Rangers. Dave was probably there. Steve Pelletier selling trucks, and Scott Boucher in the cop car.
Solid.
Paraders.
We'll go with it. All right.
That's all I got.
Sam, do you have a potential team name for your cast of individuals?
Underdogs.
Underdogs?
Yeah, it's got to be the Underdogs.
Oh, you can do better than that.
I think his team is one of those teams that just, you don't expect them to do anything. You're like, oh, we're going to beat these guys 11-2. They show up when they beat you like 11-4. I think they got that type of potential. So Underdogs, we'll go with that. All right, before we get up out of here, everyone, this is your last chance to propose a single trade. Ethan, do you have any potential trades you want to offer before we get up out of here?
I like my squad the way it is. I got nothing, man.
All right, Ethan's going to stay pat. Laughn, do you have any trades you want to offer to anybody?
No, usually if you're trying to make a trade, it means you're trying to get better. You're trying to chase somebody, and I think everybody's chasing my team. So I'm going to stick with what I got.
I like it. Lucas, how about you? Like we said, a lot of personalities on this team. You good, or you want to do something here, or what?
You know what? I might offer up Tommy Daigle to Laughn for Steve Perro. I think from a camaraderie standpoint, and I think they're similar players. I think Tommy's a little more chill, a little more laid back. So from a chemistry standpoint, I think that could help your squad out a little bit. So I mean, if you're interested, just let me know.
All right, we'll get back to you on that one.
That one's to be determined. Charles, how you feeling?
I'm going back to the trading board here. I need to hear Sam's lineup again.
Sam's got Casey Boucher, Mike Bouchard, Carl Bollier, Bill Plord, Cecil Hafford, Jim Violet.
Okay, it's a two-team trade. Sam doesn't know, but he's involved. I'm going to keep Dad and trade the rest of my 4 for Casey Boucher. I'll let Sam autofill my roster. Sam has to trade my 4 guys to Mark Graham, which he has to give me. I got nothing.
It was becoming too much.
I know. It was good.
All right.
My team is named Skank. I can't trade the guy that's the team's named after.
All right. Now, Sam, do you want to keep your team as is and play for, probability and get the highest draft pick next year and just kind of tank this year? Or what do you want to do with your squad?
Oh, yeah, we're going to sit tight.
All right. Tanking season's in effect. Trust the process. All right. Ethan, I want you to jot these names down real quick. Make sure you have them. Casey Boucher, Mike Bouchard, Carl Bowyer, Bill Pelord, Cecil Hafford, Jim Filet. Send us out of here with Bill Pelord announcing those starting introductions before we get up out of here.
I can't do the whole team. I'm going to wake up the fam, but I'll at least get a couple in there. So wait, we got Casey Boucher. Who else we got?
Mike Bouchard.
Carl Bully.
Bully. My bad.
We
Bully.
need a point guard. Who's point? Casey's point guard?
Yeah,
Casey's point guard.
Yeah.
All right.
You know what? Just announce the entire Boucher family. Forget the
Let's do that.
whole Boucher family.
Oh, fuck.
Bert and Vicky.
That point guard. He's a big boy. The pride of the Boucher family. Actually, no, they should have probably sent him back. Should stick to the golf course. He's a fat fuck. Casey Boucher.
Oh, shit.
What'd you say, Charlie?
My wife's pregnant. She has
What'd
to
you
come out
say,
and give me a
Charlie?
hard time.
You're on number 3, dude.
Oh, yeah?
Oh,
Boy, though.
I mean, I know it's cold up there, but God, give her a break.
Corona. His middle name's going to be Corona. Corona time.
Just want to thank
Rona.
just want to thank the cast of characters for coming through here for our first video podcast here on Big Time. We're going to put the rosters up, do a little, just a little poll up there, see who you guys would think would win out of these names. Thank you to our crew here for coming through. This is big time. This is big time right here. And I think we're going to have many more of these coming up just because no one else has got anything else to do right now. So thank you to the cast and crew. Thank you for watching. And make sure to check out the YouTube channel for many, many more videos like this. Shout out to Alan's Coffee Brandy for getting Charlie through this episode here. But with that, we'll see you next time.